When you think of kids, this is the typical image.
I might not make it.
But it's a different image Clearwater mom Taisha Harmon is trying to shake. We first met with Harmon in March after a school resource officer tried to handcuff her 7-year-old son at Belcher Elementary School.
Hello everyone, welcome to Life Smart Education's YouTube channel. We talk all about young people and growing up and important life skills, things that we talk about at Life Smart Education and what we teach young people.
Exactly.
I am Patricia, aka also P. Dinah, on my Royally Teachable Moments channel, where I talk about all things royal history and those kinds of things. And also this is my passion.
And I'm JD, aka JD, and it's my passion as well. I love kids, I love the youth. I love the fact that we have created this whole platform and this organization so that we can put forth our experience, what we didn't learn, and pass those kinds of things on to our youth.
Because we're not learning a lot of things today.
No,
kids just are not learning really important, valuable skills. I mean, don't you think that the youth are off the chain? Are they not off the chain?
A little bit.
Something is happening in the world. Is it in the water? What's going on?
It's the parents.
It's the parents. The parents done gone crazy.
So if we have any parents that are watching this right now, you got to be cognitive of what your kids are doing out there in the street. They may be little angels at home, or maybe not, or whatever you have going on in your home environment. Just know that they're different when they hit the streets.
And when they're at school sometimes.
And when they're at school.
Like what we're talking about today with this kids being handcuffed. I think the schools have just lost all kind of control with youth today. They don't know how to handle it. They don't know how to deal with bad kids.
See, my mom was very strict, super duper.
Yeah.
So when I would get out amongst my classmates or teachers, I did things. You know, and
you were very rebellious.
I was rebellious outside of the home. And see, that's probably some of these kids are. They get loose on the world and they think, well, I can do this now because I'm not. You know, I'm not at home. I'm not around my mom or dad.
But what do you think about these kids that are being handcuffed at school because they're so bad at school that the administrators, I mean, you have children just cutting up, acting buck wild in the classroom, don't know how to contain themselves, and then what are the administrators supposed to do?
I agree.
Yeah.
Because it's a fine line. You have a 6-year-old. What do you do with a 6-year-old who's kicking, biting, scratching, and being generally disruptive?
Right.
But then you have a lot of teachers that are, some of these people need to retire.
They do. Just get out the classroom. If you can't handle these kids, just get out the classroom.
Well, they're burned up from so many years of dealing with
burned
these.
out.
Right.
I get it. Yeah.
So
that's just terrible. So the question is, why was a child handcuffed to begin with? Okay. So we have burnt out teachers, we have parents who are strict, their kids want to act up when they get to school and they're not behaving well in the classroom. So that in itself is a problem. So how do you think they should address that kind of an issue?
You know, it's a fine line.
Do they handcuff the child and just say, hey, we're taking you to jail?
If you fought, it was a rite of passage to fight.
No, it was not.
Yes, it was. Especially for a boy.
Well, for a boy, but not for a lady.
Whatever. Because sometimes you gotta fight. You have to show us. It's just how. It's part of growing up.
No.
You're not beating anybody down with a crowbar.
These are little kids.
But kids fight.
But
it's just natural. Watch the animal shows. They fight. The boys fight. The males fight. The girls don't.
Okay,
but the boys do.
So what are you supposed to do with the kids?
You break them up like you used to do. They just send us to the principal's office.
Okay, but what if the kid is like hitting the teacher?
Well, if he's being like really abusive.
Yeah,
really abusive. Then there's this, but there's a fine line between that as well. If you get into a dispute at school.
Yeah.
Did you ever fight in school?
No.
Did you ever see boys fighting in school?
Yes.
You saw fights. You remember like when they say, hey, after school, man.
Yeah,
after school, I'm going to get you. And then after school, you'd fight and then you'd go on your merry little way.
Yeah, but you don't want to deal with that I think schools, because now kids are pulling out guns.
Yeah, see that? Okay, let's go.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So you got to nip it in the bud right away.
Nip it in the bud.
But let's get back to the whole issue of the kids being handcuffed.
I don't think that's right.
Well, that's
not
what's
right.
happening.
Well, because they don't know how to deal with any. Okay, imagine in our day how kids, it was just not an everyday occurrence. It would happen occasionally. You'd have a fight or see a fight.
Yeah.
Now it's happening probably every day.
Every day.
And it's escalated.
Yes.
To the point where they are bringing guns. They're bringing weapons. Or they're bringing their, it's not the same as it was. It's escalated to the point where now we have to take it to another level when we deal with it.
Yeah.
Or the administrators have to.
So that's handcuffing the kids?
I don't agree with it.
Yeah.
That I do not agree with, but
you know what?
They don't have a protocol for it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm thinking, no, wait, maybe if you have a child that keeps doing this, handcuff them. Get them used to being handcuffed now so that they know they don't want this. And then they learn to behave so that as they get older, they are less persuaded to engage in fighting.
But that could go the other way. That could be psychologically traumatizing to a child.
True.
And it could be like, we can have, it depends on the psyche of the child. Mm-hmm. It could either be a deterrent or it could be it could perpetuate violence in their mind. They'll be like, I got handcuffs.
So I'm a thug, I'm
thug.
Okay, I'm gonna show you a thug.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. And who knows who they're being surrounded by.
Scratch that idea.
See, right.
We don't want to do that. So the reason why this child was handcuffed, because he was hitting, he was kicking, he was being very abusive to the staff, and they could not control this kid. So they had to do what they did. But the problem is that the mother was not told that her child was put in handcuffs. And that's part of the problem and why the family seems to want to, I think, sue the school now because they have taken it to the next level, right?
Mm-hmm. This was before the arrest of another 6-year-old gained national attention. Police body camera from Kyrill's September 2019 arrest at an Orlando charter school shows the little girl's hands restrained with zip ties following a reported temper tantrum. The arrest itself is not illegal. That's because unlike 22 other states, Florida does not have a minimum age of arrest.
Okay, so as you can see, this poor child is begging, please don't put handcuffs on me, give me a second chance. And maybe it could be good as a scare tactic, like I'm gonna put these handcuffs on you. you know, and then the child's like, okay, I won't do it again.
Like Scared Straight, remember
like
the
Scared
series?
Straight. I think maybe a little bit of that would be good, but going as far as putting the handcuffs on the child and then not telling the parent because she did not know is not good.
I want to revisit this parent too. Can we go back a little bit?
Yeah.
I want to discuss this parent. She's like, didn't she say my child's, he's not a criminal. He can't, what can he do? He can't hurt anything.
Yeah.
Of course a kid can, if they have the fortitude, they can cause damage to another child.
Yeah.
They could start throwing things.
That's exactly right.
Or bring weapons to school and wreak havoc on these kids.
Yeah, and the thing is, parents don't realize that your child is doing things that you don't see.
Exactly.
You're not there.
You're not
so
there.
don't give excuse for your child saying he's not a bad kid when you weren't there. And it has to take an extreme situation for them to want to pull out handcuffs to control the child.
I think so. I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that.
Absolutely.
So, and I think a lot of parents are like that. Not my kid. There was a movie back in the 70s called Not My Kid.
Oh, really?
When the kid was on drugs.
Really?
Yeah, and the parents didn't believe the teacher what was going on. So they're like, not my kid.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she was a big old druggie.
Oh, so
it
is your kid.
Right, so it's the same thing in this situation. It is your kid. You don't see it because you're not there. So yes.
Yeah, that is messed up. Parents need to wake up and recognize.
Well, they're little angels. They're little baby, they're princess. They're pudding. That's my pudding. That's my pudding. That's my baby.
That's my baby.
My baby don't do nothing bad. My baby's holier than thou when they're at school.
Your baby is the second coming of Satan.
I used to do stuff at school.
Yeah.
I had a chart on my desk. I told you.
What?
I had a chart on my desk. Number 1 to 20. And every day I was good. I got a gold star. I would move up to the. And my mother was very strict. My mother didn't know.
You were so bad.
And I was the only one who had that thing.
You were the
I was the only one in
that
class
had
who
it?
had one. That's how bad I was.
That is so messed up.
So she said, every day you're good, you get a gold star for the day until you get to 20.
Then what had happened at 20?
I never made it that far.
Are you serious?
I never made it that far.
Oh my God.
I think school year ended before I got that far. My teacher told me, she goes, stand in the hallway right now, and I go to the library instead. She came looking for me. She goes, I told you to stand outside.
Oh, you were so
the classroom. I'm like, well, I feel like standing outside the classroom.
You were so
That
bad.
was awful.
Oh my God.
See, so that's an example of what I'm talking about. Me, raised by a very strict parent, couldn't do anything really. I was doing stuff at school. I was like a kettle pot.
Okay, so let me ask you, what if you had been handcuffed when you were younger? How do you think you would have reacted?
I don't know. I really can't answer that question. The bigger question is what my mama would have done when I would have got home from school or whatever.
Yeah.
If they would have, the principal had called and said, hey, we had to, your kid was out of control. She would have been like, what?
Yeah, she probably would have really then went in on you.
Because my mom was very hands-on. She was very involved in my school, and she would wait. When I was in elementary school, she would wait a couple of weeks and then go see the teacher, but she wouldn't let me know about it.
Oh.
She was like, I would wait till you got settled into your school, and then I would go have a parent-teacher conference with your teacher.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, because I ran into her one day.
Oh, really?
I was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, what is she doing here?
Oh, okay.
So, yeah.
Yeah, so this here is a chart that shows at what age they arrest children. Some children can be arrested as young as 6 years old, but some, there's no limit.
Right.
So we want to know, like, what do you think? What do you think children should be able to be arrested at any age if they're misbehaving? Or do you think there should be an age limit? Now, one of the officers in the video talks about how letting someone be arrested at a certain age is not a good thing because it allows a child that is doing something really bad, and if your state doesn't meet the minimum requirement to allow the child to be arrested, then you're not able to discipline that child because your state doesn't allow a child to be arrested at an age that the child isn't. So there's a lot of back and forth about, why this is not good, or why it may be good to allow kids. There's on both sides.
It's
right?
it's a kind of a gray area.
It's a gray area.
There's some lawmakers that feel like a 7-year-old could be a threat. We need to change that law. It's pretty plain and simple.
Start putting a minimum on something. What if we can what if this to death, but I'll bring this to what if Susie brings a knife to school and she's not of the age and she starts stabbing people, but she doesn't make the minimum age to arrest? We're not the enemy.
These kids are supposed to be, being children.
But that's the thing. Some of them are not, and that's the problem. It always goes back to parenting, I think.
Yeah, it does.
Or some kids have chemical imbalances that don't know how to behave, and they may need to be taken out.
What's the phrase you used a long time before?
So
emotional intelligence.
Well, but I think with young kids, I think it's something different because as we get older, we get this emotional intelligence. But with young kids, I think it's more about their development of the child and
at that stage in their lives.
Something is triggering that child to act out emotionally, and I think it's psychological. And this is a child that needs to be taken out the classroom and maybe put into a one-on-one learning environment. They have behavioral issues. They have social issues that they can't understand why it's not getting along with other kids.
Right.
So that's, I think, where you meet other options, not putting handcuffs on the child.
When it gets to that stage, you mean?
When it gets to that, yeah, just take them out the classroom.
So
But you could maybe threaten them with handcuffs.
Because we develop differently as children, you can't really put a stamp on it, like an actual age.
Right.
You can't say this 6-year-old, that's the threshold.
Yeah.
And this is what I wonder about who came up with the rule that 18 you could drive, or 16, 21 you can drink. What psychological evaluation did they do on whom to determine And then we discussed this before about
Yeah.
how you've developed enough at 21 or 18 or whatever that you're ready to make that assumption about that particular individual. Oh, they're 16, they could drive now.
Yeah, I think.
Oh, they're
yeah.
18, they could
I don't
get
know.
married.
Well, I think it has something to do with the brain development.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and so I think scientists that looked at the development of children, they decided based on the development of the child
That's
that
18
they
to get
should,
married?
that they should be able to do X, Y, and Z when they turn this age.
Well, let me ask you, do you think a child, an 18-year-old is really developed enough and they're thinking to be married?
No.
Okay.
No, but that's the age you can get married. But who's to decide whether or not they can have babies? I mean, they used to get married at 13, 14 years old.
That was in the backwoods.
Yeah, but you can't say when someone can get married now, even when they're 18. Come on.
No, you can't, because they're 18.
But you're saying just now about if they get married at 18, who says they should get married at 18?
Oh, no, that's what I'm saying. Well, I mean, I'm sorry, I misquoted or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm not saying that they should be allowed. I'm just
okay.
saying that law says you are allowed
Okay.
to be married
You're
at
about
18.
18. Yeah.
You're good to go.
Yeah. I mean, I see your point. Like, who says 18 is the age that...
Because we all develop differently.
Yeah, especially boys.
You know, you have a lot of mature kids, children. You have a lot of old souls. I believe in this whole thing. Old souls.
Yeah.
You know, people that, Anyway, I'm sticking
Okay.
to it. This is what this channel is all about. We're talking about children. We're talking about even adults at some point about how we're handling certain situations. We're talking about how what we do at Life Smart Education is set in place to offer this supplemental education for these kids, and how we want to be a part of the solution to what's happening, all over the globe. It's really global, I would imagine,
Yeah, well, I think more so here in the United States, and I think we're going to do another video where we talk about the educational systems in other countries, but particularly here in the States, there is a problem with our school system and discipline and children acting out, and I think it always comes back to the parenting and just not being raised to show appreciation for wanting to learn something. And kids nowadays are just not like they used to be. They're just not. So that's what we do at Life Smart Education. We support youth in helping them to develop these really important skills to be successful in life. Because if you're getting handcuffed as a child,
there's something wrong with
you want to pop line to prison if you're getting handcuffed.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? So yeah, we got to really nip this in the bud. So that's what we do. So if you want to support the work that we do at Life Smart, please hit the donate button and let us know that you appreciate the work that we are doing.
Visit us at www.lifesmarteducation.org.
Yep.
And peruse our website. We have a ton of programs that, I think anybody that visits our website can pick something, one of our programs that would benefit them and their children. Or we can look at these things together as a unit, as a family unit. Maybe you want to improve the quality of your home life. And we have so many programs, I think we'd have something that suits everyone.
Absolutely. So thank you so much for being with us today, and we will see you in our next video.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.